Good morning. It's September the 28th. I'm back in Regina and hopefully back to a more regular walking schedule. Did you miss me? I was away in BC for a week and I only did one walk. If you look back last week, you'll see the one I did up above Lake Okanagan in Kelowna, where my brother lives. And then, I should have been back on Sunday, but we didn't get back till Monday because Air Canada cancelled our flight on Sunday afternoon and we had to wait till the next day to get here from Calgary. And then yesterday was our anniversary, which kept me hopping with other things that needed to be done because I lost a day, so busy. But I'm back. Good morning, Mary Lou. And it's turned to autumn while I was gone, literally, because the first day of fall was a week ago. Here we are on September 28th, and you'll see that there's a lot of fall colors starting to show up in the trees. Normally I do this walk along the creek on Monday, but since I've been gone, I thought I'd do it today because it's a great way to see how the autumn colors are starting to come along. I'm also trying something else. I've actually got my reading glasses on me, propped up on my forehead, so that if I need to read something, it's easier. Than without them at my advanced age. Not that advanced, but you start needing reading glasses whether you like it or not. Around 50, typically. So I'm past that by quite a bit. We had a wonderful 25th anniversary celebration yesterday. Had some people over to see the new deck, even though the rest of the backyard is still a construction zone. And then we went out to Wascana Country Club and had dinner with our friends. Had a cake. There's a cake maker named Fadia, whom we use quite a bit. She lives in Estevan, but she brings her work up here. And she made us a very nice cake, as she has made us many nice cakes in the past. At Kirk in Vancouver. I was just there, but I didn't walk while I was there. It always seems a little weird in another city. I also pulled a muscle in my shoulder yesterday, which is causing me some discomfort. It hurts if I take a deep breath because it pulls this spot in my shoulder blade. Ow, like that. I was just testing. Sure enough, yeah, it still hurts. See, it's a beautiful day. Again, it's actually supposed to go to 27 this afternoon. It's only 13 or 14 right now. Celsius, of course. This will just be a quick, shortish walk. I've still got tons of stuff to do. So probably about a 45-minute walk here. I'm not stretching it out like I sometimes do. Just following the pattern I used to do back when I jogged this a couple of years ago now. As I've said a few times, I was impressed with myself. I was able to jog. On the other hand, my knees promptly went wonky and didn't want me to do it anymore. So I listened to them. And went to walking, and then of course I started the live streaming, and the rest is history. Still a lot of green, but definitely some more of the yellow than when I left the last time I walked in Regina. Last time I walked up here. We still haven't had a killing frost, so unusually we have flowers still showing along with fall colors, although as you can see, gardens are starting to look a bit past it. The sunflowers have dropped their petals off of those sunflowers there. There's the footbridge that we have to cross every time. Ow. How did I pull a muscle, you ask? Or maybe you don't, but I'll tell you anyway. We got some, and it's not new patio furniture, it's new to us. A friend of ours who's moving out of her house to assisted living seniors apartment complex doesn't need her patio furniture anymore. We'd expressed an interest in it, and she gave it to us, so very grateful for that. Good morning, honey. It's nothing fancy, but it's nicer than what we had, and we used it last night, and she was one of our guests, so that was all worked out nicely as well. Okay, now we'll get a look. Ow! Unexpected descent. We're going to look at the creek here for the first time in a couple of weeks. Don't think it's changed all that much. However, more fall colors. So there we are, looking east. Very still water today. And looking west. Hi Hassan, it was 13 or 14 when I set out. Going to 27 today though, which is quite warm for this time of year. I'm fine, honey, how are you? I think it went down to, it's going into single digits at night, but hasn't quite frosted. It came close a while ago, but it didn't quite do it here. Parts of the province, I'm sure, I've seen frost. There's our first dog of the day. We're yellow in the reeds along the shore over there. Mixture of colors in the bushes. Thank you. I enjoy doing them. It should be more regular again now that my little bit of travel is over, although I am going to Ottawa in a couple of weeks. Don't know if I'll walk in Ottawa or not. They already have walkers in Ottawa. They don't need mine. Morning. Water's very blue. Sounds like the waterfall's still running over there. I think we'll duck down into the path along the creek over here. Won't be able to do that too much longer once the snow comes. We can still do it today for more leafy goodness. There's a nice walk along here, as long as I pay attention to where my feet go. is right through there. Here's where if you're riding a bicycle, you want to duck. There used to be kind of a warning sign on that branch for that reason. Ground is less level than I expect it to be. That's why I keep making those strange noises. This is where we get the closest to the creek. One wrong step and we'd be in the drink. And believe me, you don't want to drink that creek. Well, I guess here as well. You're right on the edge of the slope down. The last time I walked along here, the bushes were all green and had berries on them. There's still some berries there, but they're not green anymore. If you look close, you can still see berries on the choke cherries, I think is what those are. I should take the walk down along the path by the lake past the science center that I did once this year. Probably drier than it was then, and as the leaves start to change, that'll be pretty as well. The actual path is right there, so it's not like we're in the wilderness. In fact, I will come out here and rejoin the path. Come to Elphinstone up here. Keep going. Baseball diamonds to my left. Horseshoe pitch to my right. Oh, and more dogs with an owner.
Wait a minute, just wait.
Morning.
Morning. Okay, now you can go.
So over here is the horseshoe pitch. The Regina Horseshoe Club. Again, in all the months I've walked, I've only ever seen anybody playing on it once, but the numbers are freshly painted and it's kept up, so clearly people do come and play horseshoes. I always associate that with my uncles and older guys when I was a kid. And my mom was from Missouri. All my relatives were down there. And that's where I saw people playing horseshoes. Tried it once or twice. Was never any good at it. They actually did it on MASH once. I think they were playing horseshoes. We rewatched the whole series not that long ago. Now we're binge watching Frasier. Brilliant writing and performances in that show. So the creek bed is now over there. We'll have to cross another footbridge up here. Sheldon Williams Collegiate is over in that direction. When we come by over there, we'll be going by the Neil Bulkwell Civic Arts Center. All familiar landmarks if you walked this path with me before. Again, there's a school right over in that direction. I've walked over there sometimes, but not today. The creek peeking through the trees. And the footbridge we're headed to. You can see over there now. To stop and smell the signposts. Purple leaves, those aren't really fall, well they are kind of fall colors, but they come on pretty late in the summer. And then that's actual fall colors there. Big spreading one that's still quite green. So the old Balkwell Center over there, we'll walk by it shortly. Pretty shortly. Morning. That was a whirligig, but it's some sort of gas line. No, power cable, it says. Flag. Okay, get another look at the creek here. From the bridge, because I always stop on the bridge to look both ways. So, first to the east, it's very bright. And then to the west, which is better lit this time of day. And on we go. Past the giant tortoise coming up. West Sherman Park. That one's turned quite orange since I last walked this way. That's the nail Balkwell Center over there, but again, we'll be there shortly. Here's the giant tortoise. Painted turtle, I guess you could say, which is an actual species. They don't grow quite that big, and they're not quite that color. New playground. This path curves solely for aesthetic reasons. If you want to walk the straight and narrow, there's a path that runs right along the creek that I take sometimes, but it shortens the walk. And while I'm not trying to extend it today, I want to shorten it down to nothing. This map up here shows the entire walkway. It's 40-some kilometers of it, I think. Sort of this red path. It should say "You are here" somewhere. And then there's bits and pieces of it elsewhere as well. The multi-use pathway. And these show the distance to various cities. I'm not entirely sure why they're there, but we are... Oh, I know. Those are Olympic. They're not the distance to cities. They mark Olympic cities. London 2012. They are signposts, like 1 kilometer. I presume that's from where I don't know where that measures from, where I crossed Elphinstone probably. The willows, like that one, turn kind of silvery. Some of these bushes turn quite orange. Most of the trees around here go yellow, except for a few maples. We don't have the number of maples you get in Ontario, where the red maple leaf emblem was chosen for Canada. Bend back down towards the creek. Ball diamond. I want to take a deep breath, but it hurts because of that pulled muscle in my shoulder blade. So it's awkward when I'm exercising a little and want to breathe a little more deeply. There's the creek. Of course, you can start to see the Pasco Street Bridge up there. We won't go under it today. Again, I'm keeping this one fairly short so I can get on with all the other things I need to do. A couple of phone calls coming up and some editing work to complete, and a bunch of publishing stuff I have to get. I have another book coming out next week, Thickwood, a historical novel set in post-war Saskatchewan that combines horses and professional women's baseball. I'm going to have launches for that one because the author is local. The Amir's Falcon, my author, is elsewhere. I thought about doing a virtual launch, but I haven't been able to pull that together. But for Thickwood, we'll have a launch at Amigos Cantina in Saskatoon on October 26th, 7th? What would that be? It's the Wednesday anyway of the last week of October. And then we'll have one here at Bushwhackers the day after. The one in Saskatoon will probably be bigger. That's where the author is from, Gail M. Smith, and Jeanette Lyons, who's herself an author, but also heads up the MFA program there. It's helping to coordinate that because Gail is an MFA, Master of Fine Arts student at the University of Saskatchewan in her program. And the book I'm publishing was actually her master's thesis. And then I worked all the way through it as a writer in residence at the Saskatoon Public Library and told her at the time, I'd be interested. I'm a very small publisher. You should try bigger publishers first. But it came back to me, and I'm very excited to bring it out next week in print, ebook, and audiobook. So one of the things I have to do this week is get the audiobook files uploaded, so they'll be ready to go on next Tuesday. And confirm the print version on Amazon, so it'll show up there. So technically the release date is next Tuesday, but the way these things go, I suspect the print version will actually go live before Tuesday, but everything else will go live on Tuesday. And it depends on which Amazon you're looking at as to when things show up. So all the metadata, as it's called, takes time to propagate out through the various outlets. Now it's just a long straight walk till we get down to where I'll turn in towards the Neil Bockwell Civic Arts Center. Refreshing breeze now, after being warm going the other way. The wind's coming from that direction. Don't have to walk on the sidewalk. You can go over here and walk in the grass between the rows of trees. It's not a keep off the grass kind of park. Also, you get crunchy sounds in the leaves, which I always enjoy. Tell how fast I'm walking. It was interesting. One of the things we did in Vancouver was take a hike up the Lynn Valley. That's a regional park, and through the forest. Would have been cool to live stream, except there was absolutely no cell phone coverage in there, so that wasn't going to happen. Could have recorded it, I guess, but I didn't. Anyway, so there was a woman with us who's a bit smaller than I am, which is not surprising since I'm 6'2", and as of this morning, 215 pounds, which is up a bit from when I left to go vacationing, so I gotta knock that down again. But we compared step counts on our Apple phones, and how many kilometers it was, maybe 8 kilometers up and back on that hike. She showed some 2,000 steps more than I did because her legs were shorter and she just took more steps. So steps are not a substitute for distance. On the other hand, the number of steps perhaps, let's go through here, the number of steps perhaps correlates more to how much exercise you're getting. Cut across the grass. Since it's dry, it isn't always. There's not even any dew on it this morning. And it's not being watered at the moment, so don't have to dodge sprinklers. You can see the grass turns greener up there. That's where we hit the soccer pitch. They call it a pitch? I think they do. It's not just cricket that's played on pitches, even though you pitch in cricket, you pitch on the pitch. In soccer, you kick on the pitch. We've been watching Ted Lasso, which is very funny. A lot raunchier than I expected, but very funny. It's about you don't know it, it's about an American football coach that ends up coaching a team in England. And hijinks ensue. It also has some very nice moments in it, so it's a good show. I guess that's why it keeps winning awards. Look how green that grass is. How green was my soccer pitch. Or perhaps it's a football field. Just depends on how you use it. I think they mostly use it for soccer. I've never seen anybody playing actual football here. I'm sure it happens. You can play touch football for sure. There's no lines marked on it, so can't be too organized. Don't know how you decide when something's gone out of bounds. Put up pylons probably when they're actually using it. I think I've seen that. It'd also be a rugby field with that kind of a, so you can use it for a number of things. Ooh, don't want to step in that. Break a leg stepping in that. It's worse than a gopher hole. It has sharp edges too. Should be covered. There's the playground again, which I showed when I went by on the other path. And this is the Neil Baldwin Center coming up. I took art classes. Have I ever? I think I may have taken one art class there, but anyway, you can take art classes there. One of these years, I should take some again. I mean, I love art. I always loved it. I haven't done it in years, but it was my minor in university. I used to really enjoy drawing and sketching. But again, my focus turned to words more than pictures. I still enjoy designing things, though, book covers and programs and things like that. I'm pretty good with my InDesign skills. First book I wrote was using Microsoft Publisher, which was a desktop publishing program. Fortunately, I used it. Now I have a bunch of files I can't open because that program is long gone, and nothing else seems to open those. I haven't looked recently. Maybe there's a conversion program now. And also, it was a Windows, so and I have a Mac, so there's another layer of not wanting to convert. Later on, I was able to save things as PDFs, and so those seem to be standing up to good forever. But, or whatever passes for that in the digital world. But, when I was using Publisher in the mid to late 90s, it wasn't saving anything to PDF. I don't know if PDF had been invented yet. And of course, at the time, the ancestor of InDesign was a program called PageMaker. And I knew how to use it quite well because that's what we used at the Saskatchewan Science Center where I was communications officer. Did a lot of newsletters and things like that. I think it's kind of the ancestor of InDesign, which is kind of the default desktop publishing software now. And there was another one I had to learn to use at Leader Post when I was filling in for somebody on adoption leave, I think it was, for 4 months. They used Quark Express, or Quark. So that was another one I had to learn to use. I don't know if it still exists anymore either. I've used a lot of computer programs over the years. Word is a constant, although it certainly has changed. But even when I first started writing on a computer, I wasn't using Word. There used to be a program called it was a Microsoft program. WPS was the file type. Now I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, it's another one where you can't even convert it anymore, and I have a bunch. You can kind of see the text, but you can't see any of the formatting or anything. I have a bunch of files in that because I wrote whole novels using that and short stories and things. I think when I did my short story collection, Paths to the Stars, I managed to resurrect some of those by just extracting the text and then reformatting. What was that? WPS. It was... It's gone from my head. I've used it, not admittedly for 30 years, but I used to use it all the time. My very first word processing program was called Paperclip, which ran on the Commodore 64 and was not a WYSIWYG, not what you see is what you get, but the text just scrolled across the screen, wrapped at the end in the middle of sentences. Words didn't matter. You didn't see any formatting until you printed it, and since it was just being printed on a dot matrix, or I did eventually have a daisy wheel printer because that was the only way to get professional level manuscripts at the time. That's when you saw what it actually looked like on the page. The funny thing about that was you had 499 40-character lines, I believe. Maybe they were 80 characters. And that was it, which worked out to about 2,000, 2,500 words, or 10 pages in manuscript format. And as a result, a lot of my early books, all the pages are the same length because they were driven by the constraints of that software. So I got in the habit of writing 10-page chapters. And I think some of that still carries on. That's still about the time when I start to think, yeah, that's close enough to a chapter. They're much more fluid now. I'll sometimes write... Actually, I'm listening to the audiobook of the Shards of Excalibur books, the audiobooks. I realized some of my chapters were probably longer than they should have been. Because once that chapter reading gets to half an hour, you think, certainly for the audiobook, a shorter chapter would have been better. This is College here, we're walking down. City bus. And this here is Angus Crescent, on which I live. So, yeah, this is maybe about a little over 40 minutes is all. Which is about what I wanted for this morning. I'll do longer later. Maybe even tomorrow. I don't know. Well, tomorrow's probably short. I'll probably walk downtown. But I don't know yet. I don't know anything. I make it up as I go. Kind of the definition of being a fiction writer. I just make it up as I go. Beautiful elms here, of course. They've trimmed them all recently. There's been trucks going up and down and cutting out dead branches and prettying them up, and also making sure that things don't fall on people's cars, stuff like that. Old houses in here. These are all built about 100 years ago, give or take. Ours was built in 26. The oldest one I know for sure was built in 1914. We will stop up at the upcoming corner, and that will be the end of this walk. Beautiful fall walk. The next few walks, at least on sunny days, should be quite pretty. And going around the lake on Friday should be pretty if the weather holds. Had to reply to a text there. Wondering why I suddenly stopped. And here comes the corner where I will stop. Very nice house on this corner, one of the older and certainly nicer ones with the big wraparound porch. Veranda out front here, or gazebo I guess is the word. Big yard, white picket fence. And this is where I will stop. So thanks for walking with me. I should be back tomorrow. Bye for now.